Please be advised that this video is for the sole purpose of entertainment. Any views are purely my own, are subjective and may not necessarily be true. I do, however, do extensive research for all of my videos. All photos have been found on the public domain. I am using them under the fair use and fair dealing guidelines. I urge everybody to do their own research. Well, hello, it's Murky Meg here. It's Tuesday the 8th of September. Sorry for my very mysterious absence, but I've been a bit poorly. I feel a lot better now. I am almost on the mend, so let's get cracking, shall we? Huge news hit late last night when it was revealed that the £2.4 million for Frogmore, which was outstanding after their Mexic deal, has been repaid. But it seems like it's been repaid in very mysterious circumstances. They'd been previously reported to be paying around about £18,000 per month for the repayment of Frogmore Cottage, but on Monday it was announced that the whole lump sum had been paid. Now, the $2.4 million owed to the royal household for work on Frogmore Cottage was paid thanks to an alleged $150 million Netflix deal. I'll talk about the deal a little bit later on, but I would very much like to just discuss the wording and the way that it was announced. A spokesperson for the Sussexes said that this contribution, as originally offered by Prince Harry, has fully covered the necessary renovation costs of Frogmore Cottage as property of Her Majesty the Queen and will remain the UK residence of the Duke and his family. It was also reported that Harry paid the bill. No mention of Meghan. The majority of the newspapers are picking up on the fact that it was just Harry. Rebecca English, who writes for the Daily Mail, said that Prince Harry announced he has paid back the $2.4 million in public money that was spent on Frogmore Cottage. Now, I would like to examine this very strangely worded statement. The contribution issue that I have, that's a very strange word to use, isn't it? He has contributed, not he has paid back, not that he has reimbursed or paid his debts, contributed. Now, this has got a lot of people asking whether or not this has tax implications, and that's why the wording was used for contributed. And also the fact, why is it only Harry that has paid this back? Again, that could very well have tax implications. That's why it's been seen that he's the one that has paid the debt. Could it be done this way due to the UK tax or the US tax regulations by offsetting this payment as a donation, contribution or donation, therefore technically could be used to deduct it from their tax returns when they submit them. It's a tactic that most companies use. You pay a big bill and you offset it against your tax, therefore you pay less tax. It is a cleverly worded tax loophole, in my opinion. It is a very dodgy thing to do, because if the taxman was to come a knocking saying, what on earth is this £2.4 million payment for, I don't think you can offset your family home with regards to your tax bill. Now, you can do that for offices that you own with regards to the company. That's fair game, but not your family home. Interestingly enough, because Harry is the one that's named for paying this debt, is it because he is the only person that's listed as person with significant control over their new MWX Foundation? He's the only one listed in there as person with significant control. So this very well could be the reason why he's the only named person to repay that outstanding amount. Could very well be offsetting it in a very dubious way. Of course, that's just my opinion, but that's why I could see an explanation of why Harry is the only named person to repay the debt and is the only person with significant control on MWX Foundation. It's a jigsaw puzzle piece at the moment. We always know that whatever they do, it's always going to be something shady, because that's their MO, isn't it? It's also been reported by the Times that Charles hasn't been funding them since January of this year. And the papers are now speculating that this is their final exit of responsibility from the UK for good. Personally, I would like Buckingham Palace to actually confirm if this is true, whether or not the £2.4 million has been repaid in full and where that money has come from. A lot of people are speculating whether or not Harry said, you know what, Pa, i.e. his dad Charles, don't pay me this year's money and just repay Frogmore. That's not the way it works, Harry, and you know it, because that's just shirking your responsibility. I'd also like to offer an explanation of the other wording riddle. The statement from the Sussex's camp said, this contribution, as originally offered by Prince Harry, has fully covered the necessary renovations cost of Frogmore Cottage. This, I believe, is doubling down on the reports when Mexit happened in January that Prince Harry immediately offered to pay the whole of Frogmore Cottage debt when it all went down at the Sandringham Summit. I believe this was a cleverly worded statement because it was instilling the fact that he said, well, I offered to pay it. Well, there's a difference between offering and actually doing it. I could offer never to speak anything critical about Harry and Meghan again. Doesn't mean that's going to happen. Offering to do something and actually doing something are two very different things. Also in the statement, it says that Frogmore Cottage will remain their UK residence. And we know for a fact now that it's been reported that they have paid this back, but they will also be paying a undisclosed amount to personal rent for Frogmore Cottage because they are wanting to keep it for their UK residency. I don't think they will live there ever again, and I don't think they will ever stay there. I think that if Harry was to come home, he probably wouldn't stay there, and I don't think Meghan will ever get on these shores ever again unless it benefits her financially. I may be wrong, but I'm not often wrong. Then we have to come to the Netflix deal. Oh, the Netflix deal. They've landed on their feet, haven't they? But all is not what it seems. They haven't just been handed a humongous check from Netflix. Oh, no. They have to work for their money. They would probably be given a couple of $1 million as a retainer per year for their production company. Yes, Harry and Meghan have supposedly founded a production company to make documentaries, feature films, scripted shows and children's programs. They have quoted that they want to make impactful content that unlocks action. What a load of word salad. I mean, unlocks action. Come on, you've got to laugh really, haven't you? Because the things that spout from their mouths just don't make sense. They're buzzwords. They're industry words to try and make them look positive and forward-thinking and woke, basically, isn't it? They are the king and queen of woke. Now, here's my take on all of this that's happened. The Harkles didn't get Buckingham Palace approval before they signed their Netflix deal. This could very well break the negotiations discussed in the Mexit talks at the Sandringham Summit. It was reported that Buckingham Palace would need to pre-approve any major deals during this 12-month period. It's also reported that Buckingham Palace now need to examine the Netflix deal. And at the time of those Mexit talks, that any deals are subject to discussion. Do you think they got the discussion from Buckingham Palace? I don't think they did, to be perfectly honest. And as soon as this deal was announced, questions started to be asked about this outstanding Frogmore Cottage payment, and quite rightfully so. And then magically, this gets paid. Damage control. Pure and simple damage control. It could all come undone though, because the deals that they make will have to be scrutinized by the royal household. Harry and Meghan got the green light to broker deals following their January exit, but the money aspect of the deals, the projects that pay directly to Harry and Meghan, need to be looked at by the royal household. They need to be analysed to make sure that any deal doesn't put the Queen and the monarchy in a negative light, and that they are watertight. Now, this deal allegedly is worth up to $150 million. They, like I said before, they haven't got that money in the bank, but they will surely have been put on a retainer. Now, here's a question I'd really love for you to answer. Would Harry and Meghan have got this Netflix deal if they didn't have their titles? Now, I know that they're not supposed to be using their HRH titles, but they still hold their Duke and Duchess titles. And that title is something that Meghan has been using liberally recently. So do you think that if they weren't the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, if they didn't hold their titles, do you think that they would hold the clout to broker that huge deal with Netflix? And lots of people are making the comparison that now they need to choose between money or their titles. They can't have both. And what happens if Netflix promote these programs using their titles Duke and Duchess? Is that right to do that? If they say that this particular film, show, whatever they make, is made by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, is that fair to use those titles in promoting these shows? Is it ethical and moral? What's worrying is that there are rumours that they will be making content which will reflect on Diana. Yes, that's right. Harry and Meghan want to make a programme about Diana's life and legacy. Again, is that ethical and moral? Or, as her son, does Harry have a right to make this content himself because he is her son? Needless to say, if this does go ahead with making of the Diana content, it will put strains on Harry and William's relationship. And also, how will Charles feel about it? You know, Harry and Meghan are profiteering off Harry's mother's name. And we have also heard how her death affected Harry so deeply. Wouldn't you want to keep it sacred and not have it splashed around all over Netflix? But then again, you know, he did all those talks where he constantly referred to Diana, always plucking up her name to get the victim mentality. Then we also have an issue that Netflix has already locked down to show Diana the musical before it debuts on Broadway next year. The musical tells the story of Diana, her relationship with the royal family, and the rise and decline of her marriage to Prince Charles. It has been said not to show Diana in a very good light. Why on earth would Harry get into bed with a company that's trying to profiteer off the negative stories surrounding his mother? That makes no sense to me. I can't finish this video without touching on the drama of the Invictus Games. That's been all over the news recently because it seems that the fundraiser that was due to take place has been pulled. There's been a lot of drama over this recently because it coincided at the same time as the Netflix deal news. One moment they're getting this huge deal, the next moment they're saying Harry can't attend and they have just pulled the fundraiser from the programme. Now, the Sunday Times claimed that the Sussex's Netflix deal scuppered plans for a TV fundraising event for the Invictus Games. Prince Harry has filed a legal complaint against the Sunday Times for making this connection. He says that he remains as committed as ever and that the fundraising event, which was due to be held in Los Angeles, has been pulled due to COVID. This one doesn't make sense to me because the Invictus Games are now going ahead in May 2021 and the fundraiser was scheduled to take place on June 2021. So if the fundraiser can't go ahead due to COVID, yet the Invictus Games are going ahead, which is before the fundraiser, shouldn't they all be scrapped due to COVID? Now, they have said that it's not being scrapped due to COVID for that reason. They've also said that it's due to ticket sales and the revenue aspect of it because it couldn't generate enough to put the event on, so it's been pulled. But I smell of rats, to be perfectly honest. A statement for the Invictus says that this was an independent decision made prior to the partnership with Netflix. And I say, yet more damage control. I firmly believe that Harry and Meghan have washed their hands and this is purely a ruse to stop the headlines going ahead. That's just my thoughts. Don't shoot me on it. But Crazy Days and Nights, I've mentioned them so many times on these videos, kind of did a blind post that supports that theory. They say that unless somebody steps in soon, the sports charity for wounded military is going to disappear. Now that they have their bag, the illiterate one and her ginger play toy have left the charity in their rear window. I guess the only thing that we can do is wait. Only time will tell on whether or not Harry is still involved with the Invictus Games. Now, following the backlash that this has caused, he may well turn around his decision and still be involved if he has decided to throw it in the towel. But I would really love to hear your thoughts on all of these things that I have been discussing. What do you think about Harry finally paying for Frogmore Cottage, the £2.4 million? Do you think that it was needed? Do you think it could have come sooner? Why is he the only one that is announced that he paid? Do you think that's due to tax reasons? Are they going to funnel it as a deficit for tax through the MWX Foundation? What do you think about their Netflix deal? Do you think it's a good thing that they are finally free of the royal family and that they are finally earning their own way? Or do you think it's just a sticky mess because things are still attached because of the discussions that have to take place with Buckingham Palace? Will Buckingham Palace pull the plug on it? I'd love to know your thoughts on the morality of Harry and Meghan using Diana in a Netflix documentary or program, whatever they're going to do. It's said that they're going to be doing something that surrounds Diana, her life and her legacy. Do you think that's morally okay? Do you think that's ethically okay as he is her son? Or do you think it's all a little bit tacky with what he's said in the past? And finally, what do you think about the Invictus nonsense? Were they pulled because of the conflict of interest? Because the Invictus fundraiser was due to be shown on Amazon, which is a direct competitor to Netflix. So that could very well be the reason, couldn't it? You know, Netflix could have said, no, you can't work with Amazon, even though it's in an official charity capacity, because your ass belongs to us now. So therefore, dump them, you can't do it. Or do you think it really just is down to ticket sales that they are pulling this fundraiser? And finally, what do you think about Harry slapping the Times on the wrist saying, no, stop it, don't say that? Is it another lawsuit in the making? As always, I would love to know your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the notification bell and also that like button. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of my followers for all the tips and all the emails, DMs that everybody sends to me. It really is greatly appreciated. So thank you very much for watching once again.